On a biting February night in 2024, while attending a cybersecurity conference at the Roosevelt Continental in New Orleans, I finished a late client demo in the lobby bar and stepped into the sole working elevator at 1:17 a.m., intending to ride from the marble vestibule up to my 8th floor room. But the moment the gilded doors slid shut, the cab lurched, lights dipped to red emergency glow, and the panel's digital display flickered from L to an unfamiliar S that the hotel engineer later insisted does not exist on their Otis model. At first I assumed it stood for service, yet the car continued upward past my floor without stopping, numbers climbing 9, 10, 11, then stuttering between 12 and 13 in binary error flashes until the display blanked altogether, leaving only the low hum of machinery and the faint rattle of chains no hydraulic system should possess. And when the cab finally banged to a halt, the doors parted onto a corridor none of the staff could identify on blueprints. Wallpaper a darker gold than the Roosevelt's Art Deco palette, sconces casting sickly green halos, carpet patterned with concentric keys that seemed to pulse inward no matter where I focused. The air smelled of ozone and wet stone, as though a storm raged inside drywall. And curiously the corridor felt fractionally narrower than code allows, forcing my shoulders to graze silk paper as I edged out to read the nearest room plate, Suite 1300B, though the hotel tops at 12. I turned back, but the elevator doors had sealed, floor buttons inside, now black voids, call button outside unlit, alone except for distant ice machine hum that cycled in uneven breaths. I tried my phone, no signal, despite full bars moments earlier, then decided exploration trumped panic and walked toward the ice noise, counting 43 steps before realizing the carpet keys enlarged behind me, each step altering scale so the hallway never shrank, yet angles tightened, ceiling inching lower like an optical trick. At the corridor's dead end sat a housekeeping door ajar, maintenance cart dust-coated, and taped across the jamb a brittle sign read, "Do not clean. Guest does not check out." Inside the service alcove, an electrical panel hung open, breaker switches labeled with names rather than amperage. Eugene 501 snores, Lynn 702 late checkout, my own name 818 waits. As if the hotel mapped guests to circuits, my breaker had been thrown to off. I flipped it up on instinct. Somewhere behind walls, a relay clacked, lights strobed, and the elevator bell chimed once like a subdued heartbeat. I sprinted back, but the corridor had realigned, Suite 1300B now on my left instead of right, its door standing open to a room lit by harsh fluorescent glare. Against judgment, I peered inside identical layout to my 8th floor king, yet furnishings draped in translucent plastic rippling from unseen drafts. On the bed rested a dated CRT security monitor looping grainy footage of the elevator interior, showing me staring into the screen from an impossible vantage, my own face ghosted behind scan lines. But the version on screen lifted a finger to lips I had not raised and pointed to the closet door behind the camera. The real closet within the room slid open at that exact second, cedar hangers rattling though no clothes hung, a length of elevator call wire dangled, its copper strands frayed into the shape of a noose, swinging toward me with deliberate invitation. I retreated into the hall, heart-battering ribs, and slapped the elevator call panel. This time the button flared red and the doors slid apart, revealing the same cab, but mirrored walls were missing, replaced by matte black pads that absorbed lamp glow, and lying on the floor was a single room key envelope marked 0.5. The moment I stepped inside, the envelope skittered to the corner as if blown by pressurized air. The panel offered only 2 options, glowing orange. Return and collect! I stabbed return. The cab sank hard, faster than gravity, ears popping until a wrenching jolt pinned me to knees. When the doors opened, I crawled onto familiar lobby tiles, chandeliers sparkling, concierge desk occupied. Yet no one noticed my ragged entry, and the elevator behind me bore out-of-order tape as if it had been shut all night. Trembling, I explained to the night manager, who insisted no 13th floor exists. No service corridor matches my description, and cameras showed the cab stuck on 8 the whole time. Back in my proper room, I found the maintenance envelope tucked under the door. Inside lay my card key, bent into a circle around a sliver of copper wire tied like a wristband. Note reading, "Collect accepted, reservation advances." I checked out at dawn, but every hotel elevator since occasionally grounds to a halt on phantom floors where carpet keys spiral inward and breaker panels list names that change to match each guest's heartbeat. When I feel the cab slow in that telltale stutter, I jab any button to keep moving because I know somewhere above, a circuit labelled with my name still waits in off, and flipping it back might invite the corridor to narrow until it remembers exactly how wide my shoulders used to be before the hotel decided I was ready for a permanent suite. On a muggy evening in July of 2021, while consulting for a tech startup headquartered in a 52-story Chicago riverfront hotel that doubled as their conference venue, I left the mezzanine lounge at 11:38 p.m. and stepped into elevator car 4, one of those sleek glass cabs that overlook the atrium, expecting a quick rise to my 32nd floor room. But the moment the doors sealed, the mirrored wall opposite the atrium glass rippled like heat haze and reflected a lobby scene instead of my own image, showing a bellman sprinting toward the cab, waving frantically. Only no one stood outside on the actual landing. Startled, I reached to press 32, yet the entire panel had gone dark, except for a single white icon I'd never seen, a sideways hourglass slowly rotating. The cab didn't move. Instead, the mirrors flashed a new view, my floor's deserted hallway, where a shape resembling me exited the car, loosened his tie and strolled out of frame, leaving elevator doors yawning into empty air. A chill slid beneath my collar as the hourglass clicked 00:01 and the car began ascending. Floor numbers on the atrium side ticked 13, 14, 15, but each level passed showed the same impossible reflection of me farther along the hallway, passing room doors in sequence toward 3214, my door. At 21, the mirror me stopped outside 3214, patted pockets, then raised a hand to knock, while real me rattled the alarm button to no response. The cab shuddered to a halt at 25, mid-air over the atrium void, lights dimming to crimson. The mirror iced over, then cleared to display my room interior with the deadbolt turning by itself. I hammered the glass rail, shouting down to lobby diners who served as blurred ants beneath, but none looked up. When the hourglass hit 00:02, the cab surged downward without warning, freefall for 2 floors before brakes snapped us to 19, my knees buckling. The mirror now showed 3214 drenched in pitch except for the glow of my laptop screen cycling security cam footage of the car I presently occupied. On screen, a second version of me peered upward with eyes missing, voids threaded by elevator cables. The hourglass spun faster, switching color to a sickly green, while floor indicator jumped upward again, though inertia pressed me sideways, not down or up, as if physics had been misfiled. I stabbed the door-open key. It glowed, but nothing slid. Suddenly, the atrium glass opaqued, turning the cab into a coffin of murky reflections. In the dim, I noticed fresh smudges appearing on the mirror where none existed moments earlier. Handprints, 6 in total, spaced like someone leaning from inside its surface. Each print steamed, dribbling condensation down chrome panels, and for every drip the hourglass advanced another second, though no sand fell inside it. A metallic snap overhead signaled roof hatch unlocking. Stale air wheezed through the seam. I grappled with the emergency phone, deadline, then remembered Car 4's maintenance note about override keys in the control panel. Prying the cover off revealed a rotary switch with positions labeled void return. All pointers set to labeled except one vacant detente. Desperation pushed me to rotate the lone switch to return. Instantly, the mirror purged to pure black. Hourglass froze at 00:03 and gravity reasserted downward motion so abrupt my shoes left the floor. Lights brightened to gold, doors parted on 8, but the atrium had vanished, replaced by a short cement corridor ending in a rusted door stenciled mechanical, authorized only. I stepped out because the cab hummed like a teapot ready to scream. The moment my weight cleared the threshold, the doors bit shut and Car 4 ascended without operator, internal lights now strobing. The corridor smelled of old diesel and cold river water. I pushed the mechanical door. Hinges groaned into a service bay, 3 stories high, cables festooned like intestinal wire, and across the pit perched elevator Car 4, another Car 4, crushed sideways, skeletal, decade-old spider webs lacing shattered safety glass. Its interior mirror hung intact, reflecting not the bay but a bright lobby, where morning sunlight shafted and guests queued cheerfully. Through that mirror I watched my hotel lobby alive at 7 a.m., though my watch read 11:51 p.m. Near the mirrored check-in desk stood yet another me, suit fresh, coffee in hand, oblivious. Behind me, real steel groaned. Live car 4 screeched down the shaft, slamming to rest in front of me, doors parting an inch, suction chilling the bay. Inside, the mirror glowed with the same lobby sunrise, but now lobby me turned, stared directly through the broken reflection, and mouthed a phrase I felt rather than heard. Check in early. He then walked into his elevator, doors sliding. Through the mirror I saw him merging into the crushed car across the pit, body folding like paper into rusted walls until only his coffee cup rolled onto cracked tiles. The sunrise dimmed to grey and the lobby emptied. The crushed car's doors tried to close but jammed, grinding sparks. I backed toward the service corridor, heart pounding arrhythmically, and fumbled for the stairwell hatch. As I fled, I heard Car 4's live cab open behind. A cold draft chased my ankles with each flight downward, though footsteps never sounded. I burst into the real 8th floor hallway, silent, lights normal. My door 3214 stood ajar. Inside, my laptop looped static frames of empty elevators, but the last still image froze on my own terrified face mid-stairwell dash. I slammed the lid, grabbed essentials, and checked out before dawn. Hotel security later reviewed elevator logs. Car 4 had been decommissioned since 2011 after a fatal counterweight fault, yet keycard records confirm it delivered a single passenger to floor 8 at 11:50 p.m. on July 14, 2021. Every year since, I receive an automated booking reminder from the Roosevelt Continental's sister property, early check-in available. Suite 1300B, time-stamped exactly 11:38 p.m. I delete them, but shadows inside any glass-walled lift now stretch wrong, as if my reflection still crawls service corridors, dating 3 timelines ahead, waiting for me to ride at the precise minute the hourglass switches from white to green and decides which version of myself belongs behind the mirror. In late March of 2020, just before casinos shuttered for the pandemic, I took a last-minute tax law assignment at an aging resort on the north end of the Las Vegas Strip, the Desert Star, a once glittering property whose golden facade had faded to nicotine bronze. My firm booked me 3 nights to audit the hotel's player rewards database before regulators froze operations, and after 12 straight hours passing comp spreadsheets in a windowless conference suite, I finally trudged toward the guest elevators at 2:05 a.m., half dreaming of room service fries. The Desert Star's tower used paired cars, odd numbers in car A, evens in car B, so I swiped my badge for car B, destination 34. The cab was vintage chrome and teal, floor worn to dull silver, the kind of elevator that hums a low organ note even at rest. I jabbed 34, leaned back, and nearly missed the moment the panel acknowledged my RFID. The button lit, then dimmed, and an extra indicator brightened beneath L, lobby, and B, basement, a minus sign followed by the number 3. I assumed it was a maintenance glitch, but the doors closed, and the cab sank instead of rose. Brakes sighing as digital numbers scrolled LB then 3 in dull green segments that never appeared on the building directory. The ride felt longer than 3 floors, muscles tugging as if drifting down an escalator ramp rather than freefall, and when the doors opened, the usual casino din was gone, replaced by a hollow draft smelling of ozone and stale cigarette ash. A corridor stretched ahead, carpet stripped to bare concrete, painted with arrows pointing deeper. The only light leaked from old exit strobes pulsing red at half power. The walls bore date stamps: March 15th, 1963, June 2nd, 1979, September 10th, 2001, each crossed out in grease pencil, next date added below, always advancing several years. Venetian blinds had been mounted over observation windows, now black with dust. I thumbed the close button, nothing. Phone bars 0, though 20 seconds earlier 5G had screamed upstairs. Curiosity and exhaustion mixed into reckless resolve. I followed the arrows, noting my footfalls echoed as if the hallway were an empty water tank. After perhaps 40 paces, I reached a fire door labeled "Reservation Holding" in flaking stencils. The crash bar clicked with unexpected ease, revealing a gambling pit frozen in mid-deal roulette wheel stopped between numbers, dice mid-bounce on felt, but no dealers, no patrons, only their possessions, jackets on chairs, half-smoked Marlboros still drawing ember, dollar chips stacked tidy. Overhead bulbs flickered in rhythmic waves like power drawn from a distant generator. The far wall hosted 8 stainless steel service elevators without call buttons, each door etched with negative numbers descending 4, 5, 6 until 11. Every door's seam oozed a thin line of condensation. I turned to retreat, but the hallway behind had vanished, replaced by a black slot edged with bumper rail as though the cab had never disgorged me. Speakers crackled on unseen ceiling grids, and a recorded female voice repeated, "High limit guests, please proceed downward for uninterrupted play." Combining terror with auditor's instinct, I examined a vacant craps table's player card left under a glass. Mag stripe identical to the RFID badge used above, except the account number ended in negative digits. The pit status board updated silently. My name flashed as new arrival, initial credit 100. Electric chill needles pricked my scalp. I sprinted to the stainless doors and pounded the lowest 11. It shuddered, slid apart to reveal not an elevator but a mirror-lined car empty of buttons. Floor coated in red velvet soaked darker in patches. A plastic placard hung from the ceiling. Auto balance mode, do not exit on final floor. I stepped back, door closed. Immediately, the 10 car opened unbidden, same interior, but on its rear wall, a monochrome monitor flickered live feed of the conference suite where my laptop still ran queries. On screen, the SQL cursor deleted rows by itself. My audit was being reversed line by line. Panic became action. I bolted toward the open freight lift, Mark 7, intending to hide until security swept. Inside, smelled of ammonia and burnt sugar. As doors shut, a panel finally revealed itself. Only one button, a sideways infinity symbol glowing amber. I pressed nothing, but the cab plummeted, gravity flattening me to vinyl. A brass voice announced, "Credit accepted, play begins." When motion ceased, doors parted onto what looked like the Desert Star's main casino floor, restored to 1960. Ashtrays brimming, chandeliers pristine, but not a soul moved. Every slot machine displayed my account number ticking down from 100 to 99 as if converting debt to spins. I wandered aisles. With each step, machines deducted points, though I never pulled a lever. At 90, a mirrored column reflected someone following me. Same suit, same face, but grin carved too wide. He raised a player's card in gloved hand. Mine was missing from pocket. I ran. Exits led only to fresh banks of slots named things like obligation, tally, final return. Ceiling speakers faded Sinatra into distorted carnival organ, tempo matching my heartbeat. At 50 credits, the mirrored twin stood blocking an escalator that rose nowhere. He placed the card on a blackjack table where a single face-down card waited. Voice overhead, insurance open. I flipped the card, both sides blank, but numbers burned through surface, updating quickly. 49, 48, as if time draining. I hurled the card onto the floor. Twin vanished. Machines went dark. A siren whooped. Floor tiles retracted, revealing the red velvet elevator without walls, cables exposed like intestines. I leapt inside as credits hit 40. Button panel now showed one option. Lobby. I mashed it. The car shot upward, cables screeching. Through shaft gaps I glimpsed levels 9 through 1, each stranger rows of cots, archive boxes, medical gurneys. At 1 the car jerked, alarms blared, and a warm wind smelling of spilled rum rushed downward past me. Credits rolled back towards 0. Doors burst open to the real basement. Linen carts, fluorescent buzz, a startled laundry worker dropping sheets. I sprinted for the guest elevators. Tapped badge car B opened on L, panel lit normally to 34. As doors shut, I glanced at mirrored wall, my reflection alone, smile my own, but the lobby indicator beneath flickered minus signs, then settled. I checked out before dawn. Corporate closed the Desert Star that afternoon. During inventory, state inspectors found no sublevels beyond B2, but did discover a single RFID master badge in the pit of car 4, embossed with my initials and account 39. My real badge still hangs on my office lanyard, yet sometimes reads 39 in proximity scanners before resetting. Elevators everywhere randomly stall, asking me to proceed downward for uninterrupted play. I keep stairs in sight, but debts that climb back towards 0 remind me casino credit can be earned by winning or reclaimed through breath, heartbeat, and time until the house decides the balance is even. Hotel elevators rise, but the rides that vanish below lobby level never really end. If these true encounters had you gripping the handrail like share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, because the next time the doors slide shut, the floor you stop on might not be on any map.